Christmas dinner, Grandpa slid a small envelope across the table toward me. He was grinning big. "So, how's living in your new place treating you?" he asked. I stopped cutting my turkey. Everyone else kept eating, but the air felt funny. I looked at him, confused. "What new place?" The room went totally silent. My mom dropped her spoon. It hit the floor with a loud clang. Grandpa's smile disappeared like someone flipped a switch. He stood up so fast his chair almost fell over. "Show me the papers, right now." That's when I knew something really bad had happened, but nobody at that table knew what I'd found out 3 days ago. 3 weeks earlier, I wasn't thinking about houses or secrets. I was thinking about how much my electric bill cost. I was thinking about whether I could afford new shoes. My little apartment in Seattle was cramped. The walls were thin. I could hear my neighbor sneeze through them, but it was mine. I paid for it myself. Every winter, my parents liked to tell me I needed to grow up. They'd say, "Life is hard, you need to learn that." Then they'd post pictures of their vacation to Hawaii. Mom would send me texts that said, "Hope you're doing okay," but then add, "Maybe save your money better." I never answered. Fighting with them only made things worse. The only person who made me feel good was Grandpa William Stone. He was kind, he was smart, he never talked down to me. When I turned 21, he told me, "One day you'll have a home that's truly yours." I thought he just meant someday far away. I didn't think he meant he'd actually buy me one. That's why when he video called me 2 weeks before Christmas, something felt different. "I've got something very special waiting for you this year," he said. I laughed. "Grandpa, you don't need to do anything." He just winked. "Too late, it's done." I forgot about it after that, until I saw my parents posting pictures from their fancy restaurant dinner. The caption said, "Blessed with family." It felt mean, like they were bragging. I told my best friend Maya about the weird call. We were sitting in a diner, both pretending to look at our phones. She grinned. "Special gift, maybe he finally sees how your parents treat you." I shrugged. "Or maybe it's just socks." Outside, people rushed past wearing Santa hats. Inside, my hot chocolate was getting cold. I didn't know back then that Grandpa's gift wasn't something wrapped in paper. It was something that would change everything I thought about my family. A couple days later, I was looking through old emails when I saw one I didn't remember opening. The subject said, "Maple Ridge property sale complete." At first I thought it was junk mail, then I saw the address, Maple Ridge Lane. My stomach dropped. That was the street Grandpa talked about once. He said it had big trees and quiet mornings. He said it would be perfect for me. Sold, but to who? I called Mom right away, trying to sound normal. "Hey, quick question. Did Grandpa ever buy something on Maple Ridge Lane?" Silence, then she spoke really fast. "Oh, that old thing, no honey, the deal fell through years ago. Why are you asking?" "Just got a weird email," I said. Her voice got sharp. "Emma, stop looking at things that don't concern you. You stress yourself out." Then she hung up. I sat there staring at my phone. For the first time ever, her voice sounded scared. That night I couldn't stop thinking about it. Every sound in my apartment felt too loud. I started searching online. I found the realtor who handled the sale. The next day I called pretending I wanted to buy a house nearby. The lady confirmed it. "Yes, Maple Ridge sold 2 years ago. Buyer was Richard Stone." I felt dizzy. My dad, my mom, they sold it. They never told me it was mine. When Grandpa called later asking if I'd come for Christmas, I almost told him. But I couldn't, not yet. Instead, I said, "I'll be there." "Should I bring anything?" After we hung up, I stared at the snow falling outside. Maya texted, "You okay?" I wrote back, "I think they stole from me." She replied, "Then make them admit it." I didn't answer. I whispered to myself, "Christmas dinner will be interesting." 4 days before Christmas, I drove across town in freezing rain to Grandpa's office building. His assistant, Bate, saw me and smiled, but something looked strange in her eyes. "Worry maybe, just dropping off his gift early," I said. My hands were shaking. She looked around like she didn't want anyone to hear. "Mr. Stone keeps talking about how happy he is you moved into your place." I felt my heart pound. "Moved into where?" Bate bit her lip, then pulled out a folder from her desk drawer. "The house on Maple Ridge. He bought it 3 years ago, put it in your name. Your parents said they'd handle everything." She whispered now, "He thinks you've been living there this whole time." I could barely breathe. "Can I see something, anything?" She looked nervous but handed me copies of papers. My name right there, and behind it another paper. A sale form, signed by Richard Stone, my dad's handwriting. Outside, the cold air felt like it was punching me. I sat in my car holding those papers. My hands were shaking so hard, I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. That night I called Maya. "They sold it. They took what Grandpa gave me and lied to him." She was quiet, then she said, "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to dinner," I said. The next morning I went to see Mr. Harrison, Grandpa's lawyer. I didn't tell him everything, just enough. "Will you be there Christmas night?" I asked. He looked at me carefully. "Do you want me to protect your grandfather or catch your parents?" "Both," I said. When I left his office, snow was starting to fall. Seattle looked pretty. Everything was white and clean, but I knew the truth was ugly. I put the folder in my bag. I looked at myself in a shop window. I looked calm, but inside I was angry. They think they're so smart, I whispered. But I'm smarter. Christmas night felt like a play. Everyone was acting. The Stone family sat around a huge table covered with fancy food. Candles flickered, the fireplace crackled, people laughed, but it sounded fake. I sat across from Mom and Dad, barely listening to their stories about buying new things and taking trips. Every word made me angrier. Grandpa sat at the end of the table. He was the only one who looked truly happy. He'd always been the center of our family. Strong. Honest. I wondered what would happen when he found out everything was fake. He lifted his glass. To family, he said warmly. Mom smiled back. Always. I caught her looking at me for just a second. Something flashed in her eyes. Guilt, maybe. I wanted to say something mean, but I bit my tongue. Dinner kept going. Small talk, boring talk. Grandpa asked about my job, if I had enough clients, if things were going well. It's fine, I said, trying to sound normal. Not as good as selling someone else's house. Though Mom's fork scraped her plate. What did you say? Nothing, I said quietly, but my chest felt hot. Grandpa chuckled, trying to make things light. You've always been clever, Emma. Then, almost like he was testing something, he leaned forward. By the way, how do you like the house I bought you? For a second I thought I heard him wrong. Everyone stopped talking. The candles seemed louder somehow. I blinked, my mouth opened. What house? The words felt like glass breaking. Mom's hand knocked over her wine glass. Red liquid spread across the white tablecloth like blood. Dad's face went stiff. Grandpa looked confused, then angry, really angry. What house? I said again. Louder now. Grandpa put his glass down hard. The sound echoed. His face changed from confusion to rage. Show me the papers right now. Dad tried to speak first. His voice shook. Dad, this isn't the right time. It's the perfect time, Grandpa snapped. His voice was quiet but sharp. I trusted you to take care of that property for Emma. Mom's voice cracked. William, please, we were just trying to. Patricia, he interrupted. His eyes locked onto hers. Don't lie to me again. Everything felt louder, the fire, the clock ticking, my heartbeat. Bate walked in from the hallway like she'd been waiting. She handed Grandpa a thick envelope. He didn't look at it, he just said one word. Harrison. Mr. Harrison walked in carrying a briefcase. Mr. Stone, he said calmly, you asked me to check some records this week. I think you need to see this. He opened his briefcase and put papers on the table. I watched my parents' faces turn white. Harrison pointed to the first page. This is the original purchase paper, buyer Emma Stone, signed and official. He flipped the page, and this. Sold 4 months later by Richard Stone. Money transferred here. Grandpa's hand shook as he looked at the signatures. You sold her house, he whispered. The one I bought for her future. Dad swallowed. We were just managing it. She wasn't ready. Ready for what? I shouted. I couldn't hold it in anymore. To have something that was mine, to not need you anymore. Mom reached for my hand. Sweetheart, we did this for you. You were struggling. We thought. I pulled away. No. You thought you could hide it forever. The air felt thick and hot like before a thunderstorm. Grandpa stood up slowly. His chair scraped the floor. The sound made everyone jump. Starting now, he said quietly, you don't make decisions for her anymore. Nobody moved. Mom started crying. Her makeup ran down her face. William, we didn't mean to hurt her. But you did, he said, and you smiled at my table while doing it. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small blue pouch. A silver key fell into his hand. He looked at me. This was always meant for you, Emma. It still is. He put the key in front of me. I couldn't move at first. My throat felt tight. I wanted to cry, but I didn't. Dad stood up fast. His chair fell over. We're your family, he yelled. You can't cut us out over a mistake. Grandpa's eyes turned cold. You're right, your family, but not mine anymore. Silence, the kind that hurts your ears. Mom's voice broke. Emma, please. Tell him we can fix this. I finally looked up, steady, strong. You can't fix something you stole. Harrison gathered all the papers neatly. We'll start legal action tomorrow morning. Bate stood behind Grandpa, her face unreadable. Maybe she felt sorry, maybe she didn't. Grandpa took a long, tired breath. Merry Christmas, he said softly, not to them, to me. He put his hand on my shoulder. The same hand that helped me learn to ride a bike when I was little. You always knew right from wrong, he said quietly. Mom covered her face with her hands. Dad turned away, mumbling something I couldn't hear. It didn't matter anymore. Their excuses meant nothing now. I stood up, the key felt cold in my hand. I looked around the room. The Christmas tree lights blinked. The air smelled like pine trees and lies. I thought revenge would feel hot and fierce, but it felt quiet, like the end of a sad movie. When I walked outside, the cold air bit my cheeks. Snow was falling again. Soft flakes landed on the porch steps. Through the window behind me I could see Grandpa standing tall, a shadow against the warm light inside. Inside the house my parents sat small and quiet. Trapped by their own lies, I whispered to the night air like a wish. They wanted me to earn my place, I just did. And then I walked into the snow, free, cold, and awake for the first time in forever. The next morning the house was quiet, nobody talked about what happened, but everyone felt it. Mom and Dad's car was gone before the sun came up, just tire marks in the snow leading away. They didn't say goodbye. Grandpa found me in the glass room where the morning sun came through. I was holding a cup of tea that had gone cold. He moved slower than usual, the kind of slow that comes after being really disappointed. I gave them too much freedom, he said softly. I thought having money would keep people honest. I looked up at him. You believed they were good, that's not wrong. He shook his head. You showed me what honesty really means. He reached into his coat and pulled out another envelope. He slid it to me. Inside were new papers, my name at the top, clean, official. I had Harrison fix everything last night, he said. It's legal now, the house is yours and they'll face consequences separately. My throat felt tight. Grandpa, I don't even know if I want it anymore. He smiled, tired but warm. You don't have to live there tomorrow, just know it's there, like I'll be there whenever you need me. That week, news spread around Seattle's business world. Richard and Patricia Stone had been quietly removed from their positions. The Stone family name, once shiny and perfect, now had a crack in it, but nobody outside the family knew the real story. I didn't feel like I'd won a war. I didn't feel like I'd gotten revenge. I just felt lighter. Over coffee with Maya, I told her I didn't win anything, I just stopped losing myself. She smiled. That's what real winning looks like. When I left the coffee shop, the snow had melted into thin puddles on the ground. For the first time in years, I walked without looking behind me. A week later, I drove to Maple Ridge Lane. The street was peaceful. Tall pine trees lined both sides. Little bits of snow still clung to the branches. The house stood there. Cream-colored walls, big windows, a front porch that looked like open arms waiting. I got out of the car. The air was fresh and cold. I held the silver key up to the morning sun. For the first time ever, I didn't feel like someone's daughter. I didn't feel like someone's disappointment. I just felt like me. I put the key in the lock and whispered one word. Home. Justice doesn't always scream and shout. Sometimes it just quietly stands up. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment below and subscribe to Women's Revenge for more true stories about standing up for yourself.